Hello, my name is pngtuber. I was putting the time so my art is no longer a crime. Today we are back at it like a good habit. I was here on Sunday, and now I'm here today as well doing a little bit of art. I'm gonna do something different on Thursday. I don't know what. I want to play something, but I don't know what. I keep checking Steam to see if there's something new that's coming up, something that I feel like trying, but nothing's really nothing really hitting me. Nothing really sticking out. I said nothing was sticking out. Something immediately just stuck out to me. Oh. That's what I think I'm going to do. Oh. Oh. I just found my... Oh, hello. Hello. Hi. Welcome, Callaway. I just found what I'm doing on Thursday. I want to do a little bit more art today. I was thinking about something to do on Thursday, and I couldn't think of anything. So I thought I'd check Steam real quick, and something came up that I've been thinking about for a bit. I think I'll do that. Pencil, yes. Pencillion or Pencil? I don't know. Okay, so with all the other ones, the first part of their name is what they are. So I have Jeremy, Dorothea, and then I have a pencil. Let me tell you what, that still part of the name is really hard to make a name around. The best I've been able to come up with is Pencillion, like in Cillian Murphy, but I think it's also like Killian Murphy. I don't actually know how to say his name. The name of that actor. Wait, hold on. Let me look him up. Cillian Murphy. Let's see. Is it Cillian or Killian? I actually don't know because I've heard it both ways. Penzillion? Penzillion? Penzillin? Pencillin? Pencillion. Yeah, like Killian or Cillian Murphy. I don't actually have no idea how to say his name. Hold on. Does Wikipedia tell me? Yeah, no, his name is Killian, not Cillian. I've heard people say Cillian, but his name is Killian. Okay. Thank you, Wikipedia. God bless. So I've been trying to think of a name for him that doesn't sound weird, because the first one I thought of was Pencecil, because it's like pencil and like mixture of pencil and Cecil, but that just sounds wrong. Like it sounds like you just put the word pen in front of the word Cecil. And then Pencillion makes it sound like I'm saying penicillin. So I'm not crazy about either of these. I go back and forth in this guy the most, and I just realized I forgot my glove. 1 second. Yes, he does have a knife. I wanted him to be a bit deranged. This is back when this is like sketch art I made of all of them a while ago. This is back when they all had hands. I got rid of that because I thought it looked kind of weird. Actually, really what happened is I drew Jeremy without hands, and then later I realized I forgot to give them to him, and I was like, well, now he would look weird with Let's see, where was it? Yes, there we go. Although he's the only one that kind of looked normal with hands. So I might keep the hands with him. Because otherwise, he's a little, well, I might try to do something else with the mouth. Make it a little bit more, make it a little bit more weird. Although I did give him, all right, in this sketch, I gave him, like, I gave him the most detailed, and actually, I just gave him teeth, where I didn't do that for everybody else. Because I wanted him to have just like a little bit, just like, there's just something odd about you. Other than the eyes, the cut in the eraser, and then just the teeth being there and being a little bit, just a little bit more real looking than they should be. I wanted him to be a little creepy. This is a sketch I did forever ago. I'm gonna actually, we're gonna start over from scratch, because that's what I did with the other ones. And I'm probably gonna spend the entire time trying to think of a name. Pencillion's the closest I've got. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the start of the name, that's the thing. Because I have, so Hru. What's Hru? I don't know that one. H-R-U. Because with the one that I have done, Jeremy, it's Jeremy, but with chair at the beginning. Let me turn him on real quick. I always forget to launch that. No, it's not that. It's this one. Yay. Huzzah. Hey, DW, hello. Oh, so Haru, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Oh, that's what, how. HRU, how are you? I'm brewing well. No, but I'm doing good. Work was at least easy today. Well, for some reason it was pissing me off. I work in IT, and I specifically work IT help desk, so people call in. For some reason, people were just pissing me off today. I don't know why. I think it's because my first call of the day, if I have someone who they have something going on and it's like particularly stupid, or they're asking me a bunch of like stupid questions like early, like my first call, like, okay, so I want you to reboot your computer. That means restart, right? Yes. For some reason, if I get those like my very first call, if I have like a normal first call, then I can kind of take all that stuff throughout the day. But I have like for my very first call, it just kind of sets me as like a, gonna be one of those days. So, although it could also be that I was just hangry, because my mood always gets better around lunch. Although I do eat breakfast. That's the nice thing about my job. They have a cafeteria there that we can get food from, and they have breakfast, lunch, dinner if you're desperate enough. But yeah, although it's just, at that point, it's just stuff that they have like in the coolers that you can take and go. So I guess if you really want some grapes, maybe a hard-boiled egg and some cheese, you could get dinner on the way home from. Oh man, that could also be what it was. I don't know. All right, let's figure this guy out. I want to start from scratch. That's what I did with the other ones. I'm gonna do my usual method. I'm just gonna do it really rough. And then get better from there. Or I guess get more detailed from there. But if I don't do like a really rough sketch first, then I get way too in the weeds, way too early. It takes me even longer to do anything. But one thing I did like a lot about that first concept art I did was that cut I put in the eraser, because I wanted it to be kind of unhinged and crazy. So so having something like oh, his eraser is actually damaged, and he acts kind of like he acts a little bit like a psychopath. Okay, that makes sense. He literally got brain damage. That's at least was the intent. There we go. Another thing I really liked that I did was two wildly different sized eyes and pupils and whatnot. Let's see. Just to make him look weirder. And a little bit more cartoony. Actually, he looks kind of like a nice guy like this. Hold on. Okay. When I do it extremely rough, he just looks like a VeggieTales character. Hi kids, you ready to learn about God? You guys know what VeggieTales is? It's one of those things that I think only millennials know about. Well, I think they... Do they still make VeggieTales? Hold on, this is now gonna bother me. Let's see. If you don't know what VeggieTales is, it was... How do I describe this? It was like... It was a TV show that... Like little 45-minute movies that started, they were put out on a VHS, that were like these 3D animated, like CG, Tomato and a Cucumber, Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber, and they told Bible stories and whatnot. But it had like one like overarching like story that went throughout, and then they would have like a little like Skitter story that went into it. And they're honestly, for the time, they were coming out in like 90s, early 2000s. For the time, for like what you were getting, they were very high quality, and they would always have breaks in there for like silly songs like halfway through, and they're only about like 45 minutes to an hour, if that. So they were short. So they were basically the length of just a normal TV show, but you would just get them like one VHS or DVD at a time. Well, I guess a DVD, I probably had a bunch of them. I remember when I first started watching when I was real young, they were on VHSs, and it'd just be like, oh hey, this is the one that has this story. And I probably watched all of like the first ones a billion times when I was a kid. A, in church, and B, just because we had them as a family. Let's see, hold on. Do they still make VeggieTales? What? Yes, VeggieTales is still around, but it had several revivals and changed its production, with new content still being made in a new Larry Boy movie set for 2026. Wow. The original creator involvement has varied. The franchise is now managed by Big Idea Content Group under different ownership. Recent innovations include the VeggieTales show. What? 2019, 2020 a plan. 2024 reboot VeggieTales Horizons. Only projects like 26 movie continue to be announced, keeping the brand active in faith-based children entertainment. Wow. The classic VeggieTales ran from 1993 to 2015? It ran for that long? Wow. Wait, what? Hold on. Hold on. Was this made by... Did DreamWorks have a hand in VeggieTales? Is that why it looks... Wait, hold on. I think I'm learning some deep lore right now. Okay. I'm writing this at 1 a.m. using my old knowledge of series like greatest thesis. What is this? What is this? What? And he originally wanted his writing style to be influenced by Monty Python. Anyways, all right. This looks like something that I'm gonna end up reading after. Hold on. But actually, I can just bring up a picture. But they were... Where do we have this up? Oh man, that's assuming. Okay, so my Google search results for today are Killian Murphy and VeggieTales. But what's like, this is the iconic picture. This is the iconic picture right here. Okay, so can I just... No, can I just... No, I don't want this. 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 Okay, there we go. All right, is Google to be really nice and just let me... Can I just... There we go, copy image. And then can I just paste? No, I just can't paste in here. It's always so difficult to try to get something from Google and put it into OBS, because you can just copy and paste into there, but it's always difficult. In fact, it's usually easier for me to just show the actual Google. I have a scene for that. Well, not a scene, but I have a... Let's see, I said this, and then I do this. Wait, no, that's not that. Is this one? Yes. And then this one. And then oh wait, no, that's music. That's sound. No, whoops. I was like, where I didn't show that on the screen. That's because... Oh no, it's this one. This is the one. Okay, no. It's usually just easier to show this. Okay, oh wait, I actually have to turn it on. There we go. This is VeggieTales. This one right here, that's the... Oh wait, no, you can't see that. This one right here, that's the like iconic picture. Larry the cucumber and Bob the tomato. Anyways, this was not worth it. The juice was not worth the squeeze. Let's see. I think it... Oh yeah, the two like differently sized... Hold on, actually, that... Now I understand why it made me think about that. Hold on, let me bring up... I keep clicking on the picture at OBS to make it bigger. That's not how that works. But Bob the tomato, he has two differently sized eyes. I think that's why I immediately thought of that. Wow. Yep. Anyways, random childhood nostalgia. There are still... Alright, so they had like a musical break in the middle of these things called Silly Songs with Larry. There are, for whatever reason, there are still some of those songs that I have memorized to this day, despite me not watching those for oh. Let's see. Oh, although I will admit, making the mouth open like that, open like that actually made him look a lot nicer. All right, now here's the thing that's gonna drive me crazy. It's gonna be these eyebrows. And also, I want something that I'm gonna like more than the original art. All right, now let's see. Now, how if I want someone who's like, yeah, the eyebrows are just going to be straight up, and they're going to be very high. Even higher, I think. There we go. The more you can stretch out your face and make it look a little bit weird, the more uncanny it is. Alright, here we go. Alright. I didn't get rid of the music, did I? With all my dilly-dallying around? No, I did not. Okay. Alright, now the real trick is going to be also going to be making something that I like more than this art. I feel like I nailed it. However, he also at the same time, I made this forever ago. Like, maybe over a year ago. I don't remember when. Or was that in 2024? I've been planning this for a while. I think it might have been... No, it was really around like the end of 2024 that I originally did that. And then 2025 was me thinking I should really start that. And then 2026 is me being like, it's a new year. Go! Yeah, I didn't really make resolutions this year. I guess I just started doing it. Maybe that's the way to do it. You don't say you're gonna do it, you just do it. Alright. Let's start adding in some detail here. This is my usual modus operandi. A, way too big, way too in the center. I gotta fix that up. Also, I use crazy big canvases. Or maybe I use small canvases, I really don't know. I guess it kind of depends on the art. But I much prefer smaller line art over like big thick lines for the line art. So the bigger canvas you can have, the smaller line art you can have, and the more I like it, honestly. I've spent way too much time drawing my line art with way too big, and then having to go back through and like fix it and like make the line smaller because I'm just like, I hate it, it's too big, I gotta get rid of some of this. So now I'm just drawing it small to begin with. Alright, speaking of drawing it smaller, I usually go... I have like a way of doing this. I usually go blue to start off, and then green as I kind of up the detail. Oh wait, still on this layer. There we go. Let's actually... No, we're gonna go a little bit thicker. We're not doing the line art just yet. We need to keep it casual. Also, I will never not keep it casual. Okay. Let's actually use some straight lines. Connect them. Now the real question is he going to look correct without hands? Because I have him with hands in this one. One thing I ran into Dorothea is that I added a bunch of stuff to her. Let me show you the original design. And there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't realize. Like, she looks extremely plain without hands. Like, her mouth was up here and just had regular eyes. Well, you didn't notice it because she had the hands kind of distracting from everything. So when I finally made her again and I took away the hands, I was like, she's missing something. And she looked very, very plain. So I ended up adding in like the bell knocker and all sorts of other stuff because it was just, well, not all sorts of other stuff, but other things as well, because it was just way too, it was just missing too much. I also might need to make him a bit thicker. Also, his face is going to be really small on there, or really big. Of course, I guess that's kind of a good thing as well. I'm going to end up playing around with him a bunch, probably. And his face is going to drive me crazy. I'm sure. But hey, it'll be a good crazy. It'll be a learning crazy. I have not developed an actual style for myself yet. And I'm just kind of going with like, you know what, I like this. Or I tend to go this way, so I'm hoping in that to actually develop an actual style. Of course, that's like the last thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to learn like fundamentals and stuff like that. I just randomly clicked on this stream. What's up? Hello, Cole Rains. Nothing much. I am doing a little bit of art. I'm making some pngtubers for a little fun project I want to do with my streams. And I'm trying to... working on the last of the 3 that I have planned right now. Just trying to take a idea that I had like almost 2 years ago and actually make it become a reality. So how you doing? Welcome, welcome. I don't know what happened recently. I streamed to like nobody for 2 years except for like one person randomly, and all of a sudden the last 2 streams I've had a bunch of people. So welcome. By a bunch of people, I mean like 2 or 3. That's a lot for me compared to nobody. It tells me I should really be doing more art streams, because I did barely any art streams last year. And then I started doing them more this year and people started showing up. That should probably tell me something. Although I originally started this channel That's quite the scary pencil. You can tell me about the characters. Yeah. So the idea is what I eventually want to turn my stream into is, let's see. You know how in like Blue's Clues or like Pee-wee's Playhouse, something like that, how there's just like one random regular dude on stream, but then he has a bunch of just like weird talking furniture that's in the background that everyone acts like is normal. What if the dude didn't think that they were normal? So, long and short of it is, it's gonna be me on stream, and then I'm gonna have a bunch of random talking furniture that annoys me, that I make stream for me, so they stop bothering me. That's gonna be the gist of it. And let's see. And actually creating like let's see, the actual like moving furniture would probably eventually have to be either like 3 if I really want to go crazy with it. They'd either have to be VTuber models or they'd have to be like 3D models. I ain't got the time or the money for either of those two. So pngtubers just require like 5 pictures. So that's pretty easy. A good place to start. Let's see, is it 5? Yeah, because you have a main body, and then you have the eyes when the mouth is open, the eyes when the mouth is closed, mouth open and mouth closed. Yeah, so it is just 5. Yep. I got 2 others. One's on the screen right now. There we go. I forget my camera's backwards. That's Jeremy. I made him last year. Say hi, Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. Hi. And I finished the art for... Let me show you. I'm never bringing her up. I definitely see the Blue's Clues vibe. It sounds like a fun project. Yeah! And I finished the art for Dorothea on Sunday. I still have to like cut out the eyes and do a mouth open, which I just realized. But I finished the art for her on Sunday, and now I'm working on the last one. And I realized... Something I realized is that over time I really started making my canvases darker and darker. That's quite the difference there. It's like a flashbang. Nice and normal. Flashbang. Actually, I might change that. Because, listen, if you ever do digital art, one of the things that I was... Oh, wow, that's because I haven't changed this color. Why did I not do that? One of the things that I learned early was make your paper gray. I love you saying this. Yeah, Jeremy, Dorothea. I'm really stuck on the pencil though. I'm married to the idea that it needs to be a pencil, but it's really hard to fit in a name that has pencil in it. The 2 best I've come up with are Pen Cecil, which is just Cecil with pen in the front of it. We're kind of like, yeah, I'm not crazy about that one. And Pencillian, like the word Killian, like Killian movie, like Killian, yeah, Killian movie. You know the guy from the Murphy? No, Killian Murphy, the guy from the movies. So Pencillian, but that then it just sounds like penicillin, which is a drug. Mind you, it's an antibiotic, so it's not a bad one. But so I'm not liking any of the names, but I'm fully committed to the pencil design because I had this idea forever ago, and I'm just kind of stuck with it now. So anyways, one of the things I learned early about doing digital art is you always make the papers that you draw on gray, or else you'll be staring at a bright white light just in your face for hours at a time, and it will make you go blind. Well, no, probably not make you go blind. I personally love Pen Cecil. I do too, but it doesn't quite fit the vibe so as the other ones, because you have Jeremy, Dorothea, like it has what they are at the very beginning, whereas in Pen Cecil, it has pen at the beginning, but he's a pencil. It's like one of those things. It's like, it doesn't fit the naming convention of the other ones, and that's the thing that throws me off. It's a good name, but it doesn't fit the naming convention. You know what I mean? So, however, there's not a lot of names that start with Syl. Penny, that's good. Penny Syl. That Syl is. If the word pencil didn't have Syl at the end of it, this would be a lot easier. Or if it was just a pen. But the reason why I liked it being a pencil so much is that I kind of want him to be a little bit crazy. Pencil, yeah. I kind of want him to be a little bit crazy and deranged, and it's really easy to show brain damage um, in a pencil because you can just like mess up the eraser at the end. So that kind of adds to like the, oh, there's just something mentally wrong with this guy visual storytelling there. And I like that a lot. But then the name doesn't work. Pencil. Pencil. It's a pencil. Oh my god. Why does pencil... Sorry, that made me think of something. Like, I know there's some sort of like... I know there's some sort of... Oh god. There's some sort of property out there that has a bunch of like animal puns like that. And it's like a very vague memory. I could just be overthinking it. There's probably a billion things. That vaguely reminded me of something, but I couldn't tell you what. Alright. Also, one thing I did not go far enough in is I kind of want his eye with the really rough draft down below was I kind of want his eyes going off the sides here a bit. Because general things that we use to show insanity, very tight smiles, very wide faces, dilated pupils, high eyebrows. Okay, now he just looks like he's stoned. Almost no eyelids. Wow, I don't know what it is. What did I do on this that made him look so deranged? It's the mouth. It's the mouth and two different eyelids. Okay. Because over here I started giving him like, there we go. Okay. There we go. Do I need to do that for both? Now he just looks like he's staring. You can always give everyone pun names. Just name him Jeff or Bob. Just name him Jeff or Bob. I could do that. Everybody else has a name except for one person. But then that would come up with... I'd have to come up with a reason why his name is different. I guess I could just say I couldn't think of anything. That's lame. You gotta have a better reason than that. Well, you have to actually come up... Even if you don't actually have a better reason than that, you still have to make people think that you have a better reason. Oh, his name is different because he's just a little crazy. We don't talk to Bob. Okay. I gotta say, with just the upper eyelids... Okay, now he's just staring. Now he's high. Now he's like angry. All right, this is gonna drive me crazy. There we go. Let me just do the same thing I did before. I don't know. Yeah, because if his eyelids are the same, it makes him look like he's just like doing that instead of just. Because I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to go for that face, but I'm just kind of getting. Which is basically you just scratch on a toilet. Eraser. Hey. Well. Oh. That would be... Hold on. That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually. Maybe not for him, but that's a really good one in general. Hold on. can I freehand? Let's see how good I am at freehanding. A helmet. Not very good at freehanding a helmet. Not very good at freehanding a helmet. But an actual, like, eraser that thinks he's a knight, that could be fun, actually. Hold on. You ever get distracted by something? I have Clip Studio open and it was just like, hey, claim your login bonus now. I was like, don't mind if I do. Just noticed that. Hold on. That's actually a really good idea. I'm gonna write that down because you know those things are like, oh, that's such a good idea. I remember it later, and you don't write it down. And then you think later like, oh, hey, this would be a really good spot for that really good idea that I had back then. Gosh, what was that? We'll keep eraser. That's a pretty good idea. Because I do want to eventually like add more stuff over time. As I come up with more silly voices. I got the one for Jeremy. Okay. Nice to meet everybody. I'm Jeremy. And I'm working on Dorothea. I want her to be a little bit like, oh, you. So good to have everybody here today. I want her to be kind of like that. And Cillian, I'm scared to do the voice for him because it's really loud. But he'd be like, hi, everybody's here today. Something like that. One of the nice things about I have upstairs neighbors that can hear absolutely everything that I do. And I do like to practice doing funny voices, but I can only ever do it in my car when I'm driving to and from work. Because that's the only place I know I'm not going to be bothering anybody doing this. And I practiced. Okay, I have a really, really, really good like evil laugh, like evil maniacal genius laugh, but it's really loud and I can't do it anywhere but my car where I'm driving. So it's probably, and here's the thing about driving in a car and like doing stuff loudly in your car is not soundproof. People can still hear you outside really easily. So there's probably a few people on the side of the road who have heard me just absolutely cackling mad to myself as I drive down the road. And I was like, was that guy screaming? Anyways, but if ever I can get my life together enough and I can get like super cheap soundproofing so I wouldn't get noise complaints, maybe I'll do it on stream, but it's really loud otherwise. Or if I'm sure like they're not there. Or it's not like 8:30 at night. I know people are definitely home and they definitely have a 1-year-old child that they're definitely trying to put to bed in the room right above me. Anyways, so Eraser is really good. I actually like that one. And I do eventually want to add more characters as I go along. Because, I mean, why not? If you're going to have living, talking furniture, sky is the limit. You can just kind of make them. They all don't have to be like their main characters. Like, what is it? I'm trying to remember. Blue's Clues had like the main guy, then there was Blue, and then I think it's like Talking Furniture. I know that there was the chair, there was Mr. and Mrs. Salt, and eventually they had Child Paprika. There was the mailbox. I don't remember anything else. It's been a long time. That's all I remember. But that's all stuff related. It's supposed to be a feather, but it looks so much like a leaf. It looks like he just has an apple on top of his head. Actually, that could be kind of funny if he has quote unquote armor, but it's just like something that he's thrown together, and it's very clearly just made out of like household objects. But he insists that he's a knight and he's had it forever. That could actually be kind of funny. Anyways, all right. Ooh, I had the eraser out. Let's go back over to Pencil, Pencillian. Oh, that helped a lot, actually. Something about making the eyelid a little bit rounded there really made him look like... Let's see. It's going to be a fine... One thing I'm kind of realizing with this, there's a real fine line between I'm going to kill you and pervert. And I'm trying to not make him look like a pervert. But part of the visual language is going to be a lot of sharp angles. Sharp angles and let's see. Yeah, a lot of sharp angles and solid lines and things that are jagged. That visual language is usually used to show instability. As opposed to Jeremy, I kind of want him to be the soft dumb one in the group, so he's pretty much all curves and chill. So he's gonna stay far away from sharp angles and whatnot. Even the sharpest of his bits, which is like right back here, even that's curved off. So I guess the sharpest of his bits would be his eyebrows, but even then they're kind of going in like, okay. Like, oh, yeah, okay. Although whenever I do the voice, for some reason I have to stretch out my entire face like, oh, okay. That sounds great. You gotta put your whole face into voices. Which is probably a good thing why I'm gonna be... Green! Because it's just gonna be me doing them. So I don't got anybody else here. That's the fun. If you do everything, then you can always trust the people that you work with to get stuff done. And you can also only blame yourself when it doesn't get done. Alright, but something about making the eyelids curved actually really helped. Might do the same thing here. Yeah. Instead of keeping them more straighter, less curve, I might put more curve on them. No, that just makes it look like he has pink eye. Back to the pervert angle. I had this like perfect before. I got rid of it. There we go. Alright, there we go. A little bit more detailed. The hard part with him is that he's going to be smaller, and there's literally less of him than everybody else. A, because he's just a smaller object, and B, he doesn't have like any like big surfaces like a chair or a door does. His face is going to be 90% of him. I also really wanted him to be like one of those like short stubby pencils that you've used way too much, and rather than a big long one. Because, let's see. Because A, there's just something way more chaotic about like, you know, whenever you're in like school and you have like those pencils that you use way too much, but you don't want to get rid of it, and it's like down to here, but you're still using it. There's something just more chaotic about that than just using a normal pencil. So, the shorter the better for him. There's gonna be 90% face and 10% surface. So I think details are going to be important for him, especially in stuff like start using a smaller pen, especially in stuff like down here around where he's sharpened. It should be especially jagged and crooked. I may even go, that's a little bit too uniform. I'll try making it look, we're just trying stuff out here, seeing what we like. I'll even just go with like an uneven sharpening, like with a bad eraser. Actually, I kind of like that a little bit. Yeah, okay. Alright, now I'm going to use some refining. The mouth. Oh, that's the wrong one. The mouth. This one, I remember, took me forever. But I remember one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make his mouth just slightly more photorealistic than everybody else's. Just kind of give it just a little bit of the uncanny valley. Not too much. Too much and he actually becomes weird to look at. It just wants to be slightly unnerving. There we go. So the slightly open mouth. Actually showing that he has teeth, where, I mean, I show that Jeremy has teeth. I don't have any teeth yet for Dorothea, and I don't think I will show teeth on her. Because, let's see. With Jeremy, I use it, he's supposed to be the quote-unquote, like, he's not dumb, but he's gullible. So, I gave him the 2 bottom teeth, because that's something that's very childish. It makes him look like he has a little bit of a childish personality, maybe, or just maybe just not the brightest. And that's true for him, so that's a good trait. But Cecil Penicillian having just a full set of teeth. I think they're one of those things that are immediately upsetting to people, where if there are teeth where they shouldn't be. I think it's because we associate teeth with biting and chewing and eating and like pain and dismemberment, especially from like wild animals and stuff like that. Like, teeth are a threat. So, whether we want them to be or not so much. Well, I guess so. Even if we're still like really angry at people, still like, yeah. And we open up our mouth and show our teeth when we're yelling, even if it's unintentional and it's not actually like a threat to show someone your teeth like this for like chimpanzees. But it's still something that we naturally do. Unless you're like me and you just have big teeth. You can't hide them. I don't really have big teeth. I have big front teeth. Alright, there we go. Let's round off this guy just a bit. I do want him to be a little round though, because if he's too jagged and weird, he's going to be off-putting. He just needs to be slightly off-putting, just enough to for people to very visually tell what he's about at first glance. Let's see. There we go. Oh yeah, one thing that's very important I keep forgetting about is a pencil. This is too many of these. I need to keep these sparse. But he's gonna have those little pencils aren't round. Well, usually they're not round. The cheap ones are round, but actual like decent pencils are actually, I think they're octagons. I don't remember. I think, do they have 8 sides? I think they have 8 sides. Guess it's gonna be easier to grip there. And I just want him to be a little slightly good? 4 should be good. But I don't want him to be symmetrical. I want him to just be slightly off symmetrical. Again, a little bit of that visual storytelling, like, hey, there's just something off with this guy. And due to perspective, let's see. This one's going to be the longest. These should be short. Okay. Perspective's going to be really weird on him. If he ever ends up actually becoming like a real model, which is something I do not have money for, probably ever. The pencil versus Doodle Bob. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically going to kind of be if the pencil was Doodle Bob. But he was just still a pencil. He couldn't really move around all that much. Let's see. And he was just unhinged from the beginning. He didn't become unhinged as he went along. Alright, let's... Alright. There we go. Let's start getting a little bit more detailed here. Let's... go down here. Let's lower this opacity a bit. Sorry, eraser. And let's actually... go for something a little bit more final. Okay. By the way, can you hear the music I have in the background? Is it really... something's telling me it's probably a little bit low. Oh, we don't want it to be that thick. Let's go back down to... Let's see. Ooh, I hear the rain outside. Oh, wait, hold on. All right. There's the eraser cap. Just going to be a little bit wider than the actual pencil itself. Just a smidge, though. Let's see. And then... a little bit wider. Why does it look weird right here? There we go. And then... Alright. The actual eraser. Oh, I'm focusing on that. Although I guess... giving the guy brain damage, so might as well have the reason why he has a brain damage up front. I do this before. I'm really proud of myself for doing it that way. Yeah, okay. I think I'm still thinking this. I'm taking a break from like social media and stuff to start out the new year. So I've started catching up on a bunch of stuff that I've been interested in the past, but I have been too lazy to start. I finally, what is it? This week, one of the big things is I'm catching up on manga. I finally caught up on One Piece. I finally caught up on One Punch Man. And then I was like, oh, what else is there that I'm interested in? So I caught up on Dan to Dan. I still need to catch up on the anime for that. But I really liked the manga after like reading through it. So I was like, oh man. And I was lucky because the day that I finished it up on them, they posted a new chapter. So I was like, yeah, I'm caught up and there's a new chapter. This is awesome. And then finally today I was like, what else do I want to read? So I started reading Spy Family. I understand why that got a show now. It's so much fun. Let's see, I think I've seen like maybe only 1 or 2 episodes, but I think I'm actually gonna go back and watch the show now. I know, it's all the normie stuff, well, as far as like anime and manga go, but hey. One of my things I realized as I got older is that usually things become very popular for a reason. And they're worth at least, well, not everything is worth checking out, but they're at least worth not blindly hating, especially if they get super popular. Of course, I think it's kind of a mark of, hey, you've actually made it, if people just start to hate you for no reason. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like, hey, yeah, you kind of made it. People just hate you for no reason. People just hate you because they're jealous. I think that's one of those things that's just inevitable and part of the human experience. I feel like that happened a lot in 2025, especially with streamers. There was a bunch of people that just started getting like a ton of hate out of nowhere. I think the biggest one I saw, well, there were some people that got it very deservedly. The biggest one I saw who got it like very undeservedly was Iron Mouse. I was like, why is everybody hating? Just, she had nothing to do with you guys and she didn't do anything. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Although, apparently she's been getting stuff like that forever. What is it? She won, like, Creator of the Year at the Game Awards back in 2023. And I heard her say, like, well into, like, the next year, like, 2024, and she was receiving, like, still receiving, like, death threats, like, all the time because of that, and people just hated her for that. And they'd always want her to post, like, if she would post something on, like, Twitter or YouTube Shorts, people would always want her to post it to Instagram as well, because moderation on Instagram is way lower, so they can say, like, some super nasty stuff on her videos and get away with it. It's like, yo, that's kind of messed up. So you'd see, so if you are on any of those platforms and someone's like, hey, this is great, you should post this to Instagram, and if there's a lot of comments saying the same thing, more often than not, those people just want to be real nasty, but they just can't do it in the way that they want on the platform it was posted on. Kind of messed up. I don't know. It's one of those things where the space is meant to be... It's meant to be escapism. Where streamers are basically a mixture between local access cable and busking en masse to the world. Like way back in the day, I think they still do this, but there still are local channels. They used to be much more. It used to be much more of a thing in like the 90s. Instagram is the Wild West, but they also don't have as much monetization, so I think that could possibly be why as well. Actually, I don't even know if it's possible to monetize on Instagram. I've heard some creators say that it isn't, so I've never tried it, and I have no intention of doing so, so I'm just going off of what I heard some people who have looked into it have said. So, but like way back in the day, back when cable was pretty much the only thing that you had, or even like rabbit ears, there would be local stations, and they would just have like people be like, come in from the community and be like, hey, I got an idea for a show, they'd pitch it to the station, and it could just be like some dude wanting to do like a cooking show or like put on a kid show or whatnot, and the station would be like, yeah, sure. Because it's possible that if the person actually like took off, it could become very successful, and then that what was at that time that local cable station could grow, actually get more money and more funding, and maybe become something nationwide. So I think there's a lot of shows that started out that way. So like this was like back in like 60s, 70s, 80s. There was a lot of local access stuff like that. I don't even know if a lot of it is saved. A lot of it is lost media, and probably most of it is trash. But people have always wanted to create just random BS and put it out there for the world to see since time immemorial. And streaming is kind of the natural evolution of that. So it's supposed to be escapism, and it's supposed to just be like, hey, I want to make some stupid shit and hope you guys enjoy it. So for me, like bringing in a bunch of hate and stuff like that, and I think you probably no, I think really what I'm trying to say is, if the things that's supposed to make you like, I think it's supposed to make it easier for you to get through your shitty day, is making you feel worse, it's probably not doing its job. I'm gonna be honest, it's not doing its job. And you need to reevaluate what you're doing. That's one of the things I started doing in 2025, and I didn't realize it. In 2024, I started like getting into watching like drama channels and things like that, and like following up with it on Twitter, being like, oh, okay. And it was like my own guilty little habit. And the more in 2025, I was like, I'm taking on like people's anger that I don't need or want, really. Like, why am I angry about this guy that I don't know, don't watch, have no connection to? Why am I doing this? And I just kind of stopped doing that. It wasn't even really a resolution. It was just like, this isn't making my life better. So, I don't know. But I think one of the things with streaming, though, is that you actually, as opposed to like other forms of media, is that you are actually like interacting with the person in real time. Like you can chat with them and whatnot. They're actually talking with you in a stream of consciousness. It's not reading off of a script or whatnot. They're just out here doing whatever and saying whatever. So you're actually interacting with the person, not with usually like a heightened version of who that person is, but still like that person. Usually it's just whatever their personality is turned up to like 10 or 11 or maybe even 8 or 5 if they're really not feeling it that day or they're super tired. But it still is at the core of that person. So it's a lot easier to get way more attached to these people because they're being a lot more genuine. It's one thing to be like, watch 1,000 episodes of House and feel like you know who the character House is, but you don't know who Hugh Laurie is. It's different with streamers. You know, if you watch like, say, you watch like Maximilian Dude, you get acquainted with who Maximilian Dude is, but Maximilian Dude is just a nickname for, I forget what his real name is. I'm assuming it's Max. Is his real name really just Maximilian Dude? That's always like the funniest thing to me, is when somebody's like streamer name is just their actual name and you don't know it. Let's see. Maximilian Dude. His real name? Is it just Dude? Maximilian Miles Christensen. Yeah. So his name is just Max Christensen. So even though he goes by the name Maximilian Dude, you're still getting really to know the real dude. So it's a lot easier to get more attached to that person because it's more genuine. And then when that happens, if they like say something or do something, or someone says or does something about them, it's a lot easier to get very involved emotionally because you do genuinely feel like you know it's this person. It's like that whole parasocialness. which I think with all things, we're now getting to the part of the stream where I start waxing poetic about random bullshit. Which I think with all things is good in certain measures. Let's see. Because I've heard of a lot of people who... There's a lot of good stories about people being like, hey, like, I was in a terrible place, and I just randomly saw your stream. I started watching, and it felt like... I'm getting a little choked up. And it felt like everything got a little bit better. I know this because that happened to me. I was never, like, about the game end or anything, but I remember a few years ago, it was my birthday, and it was just me, like it's been for the last couple years, getting home from work, and just being like, well, I'm just another year older, and it just feels like another day. And then, let's see, what did I watch? I turned on Chibidoki. I watched her at the time, and she's just doing some random bullshit in Minecraft, being like, hey, watch this, trying to do like parkour jump, immediately beefing it and dying, and all of a sudden I'm laughing. And not only is your whole day better, but all of a sudden that thing that was real shit, even if you didn't want to admit it, it's just a little bit better. And I think right there is like the sweet spot. Like right there's a sweet spot where it's like, hey, I'm just out here being goofy, trying to make people forget about their crappy lives for a bit. That's the sweet spot. But I don't know. I feel like especially in 2025, it just got so like vitriolic. I felt like anytime there was anything that happened at all, even if it wasn't necessarily like negative, it somehow became negative. It could also be that I had just started following a bunch of those people. Because, I mean, everyone loves a little bit of hot goss. And then I was just seeing that stuff a bunch, but it was becoming like, I just don't want to carry around all this all day. It doesn't make this thing that is supposed to make me feel good. Well, this thing that's supposed to make me feel good is no longer making me feel good. That's what I'm trying to say. So I stopped a lot of that. Although it is every once in a while. I haven't fully given it up. It is still... What is the phrase? What is your guilty obsession? Not my guilty obsession, my guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure. Every once in a while I'll be like, what is this? I'm trying to stop. Although you hear about like a story or something and you're like, oh, what's going on? And you want to figure it out, but it's never good. It never makes you feel better. You're never better for knowing it. Let's see. Unless someone like really does something that's like, oh yeah, that's messed up. Like, what is it? That Nina Lynn person. Ooh boy. And if like, say, you watch that person and you're like, oh no. Like if it's something that you actually like know and care about, and it's something that's like actually problematic and needs to be talked about, that's one thing. But like, we shouldn't sweep stuff underneath the rug, but at the same time, we shouldn't just focus on the table. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Hi, it's me, a guy who has maybe 1 or 2 people watching him giving all his professional opinions about streaming. I don't even make money off this. I can't. Actually, I can. I'm not going to turn on ads. Are you kidding me? If I had on ads and nobody watched me, doubly no one would watch me. I'd be like, why does this guy... Why does this guy have ads? Who does he think he is? Hell, there are people that... Hell, there are people that, even if I want to watch them, or even if I'm interested in what the stream might be, if it's on Twitch and they have those pre-roll ads, there's a good chance that I'm gonna I'm gonna leave. Although, if I can get through those pre-roll ads and then I don't have to deal with as many later, okay, that's fine. But those pre-roll ads on Twitch, man. As someone who, oh god, I bought, oh wait, I forgot, that's why. I accidentally copied that color. I got YouTube Premium back like 8 years ago, and I've had it for that long, and I've never gone back. So anytime there's ads in anything that I'm watching online, I'm like, this sucks. I want out of here. Get me out of here. I haven't watched these in like 8 years. I'm not gonna start now. Probably the best use of adult money is YouTube Premium. Let me tell you what. It's one of my favorite subscriptions. I could be dying on the side of the road of hunger and I'd still keep my YouTube Premium subscription. Of course, at that time, I probably lost my phone. And I probably cancel it. Actually, no, I have it on my computer. That's the thing you need to be careful of. Never buy subscriptions on your phone, especially if you have an iPhone, because they'll charge you like $3 more for it. Always make sure you get that stuff on your computer, and it's going through their service. It's going through the actual like site itself, because then you still get all the benefits on your phone because you're using the same. My phone is over here. You still get all the benefits on your phone, and you're still just using the same account, but you don't pay like $3 more. I got YouTube Premium on my phone. I don't know when, but I think that's when I originally bought it. And finally, I was going through and I was looking at like my finances and stuff like that at the end of last year, and I was like, why am I paying like 18 bucks for YouTube Premium when it's like 14 bucks? What's going on here? Then I was like, oh, I got it through my phone. Oh. Why am I getting Viagra ads on YouTube? And wouldn't know. I've gotten those in years. Although I only have YouTube Premium on my like personal account. But I have an account that I use for like streaming and stuff that's entirely different. So if ever I'm on that account and I don't realize it, and I just kind of like search up and bring up a video, all of a sudden there'll be an ad, and I'll get jump scared. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? No, I thought I turned these off. How did I get here? Oh wait, wrong account. Oh man. I tell you what, Twitch got a lot of my money for a long time before they had the whole Twitch Turbo thing, because I'd be like, there's like all these streamers that I like to watch. I hate ads. What is it? Bettles and Trey and Henny, I got a lot of my money. Let's see. How's Bettle doing there? Let's see. The Polybuzz ads are even worse. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna be honest. I'm so disconnected from ad culture. It's probably one of my... I will genuinely brag about that. The heck is a Polybuzz? Alright, now I gotta look this up. Polybuzz. Polybuzz is free, private, and unlimited. Oh, okay. AI chatbot. Okay. Bleh. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Let's see. AI chatbots. Listen, I might work in IT, But as a former teacher, I really don't like AI. I was a high school teacher for years, and before I got into IT, and I got into IT like just before, like literally like, let's see, my last year of teaching was the 2021-2022 school year, and like right after that is when ChatGPT and all that started taking over and whatnot. And I had students trying to cheat and stuff like that beforehand. Some extremely obviously. Some extremely obviously. Because let me tell you what, you write the same way you talk. So if what you turned in sounds nothing like you, and sounds like someone who's way smarter than you, then you didn't write it, most likely. And even if you're supposed to be using like the more formal tone that you use for papers, some of your personality is gonna seep through eventually. And some of the word choices here and there, and it's gonna be obvious. Also in the way that you talk and whatnot, like it's usually pretty easy to tell if someone's cheating. Like, it's pretty easy to tell. The easiest way to tell if someone's cheating is if, and a bunch of students that did this, where one person would do it and then everyone else just copy all of their answers, but the initial person who did it did all of it wrong. Yeah, honestly, stuff like that, or similar to that. Right in there. That stuff comes out in your writing, whether you intend it to or not, because it's just what you naturally do. We write the same way we speak the same way we write, whether you realize it or not. One of the fun things to do, and this is something that was kind of innate for some people and not for others. I was an English as a second language teacher, so I work with the kids who they just got to, not only did they just come into the school, they just came into this country, don't speak a lick of English, and I got to teach them. And one thing I found really hard to do in the beginning was teaching them where to put like periods and punctuations at the end of sentences. Because it's something that if you grow up speaking English, it just kind of makes sense, like, well, this is the end of a thought, so you put a period there. And to you, you're just like, yeah, that's where a period would go. But that's something that's not super apparent to someone who's brand new to the language. And until I actually learned this from a different teacher, but one of the things that I didn't even realize that I did this, and probably most people don't, is if you stop and you say what you're trying to say out loud, every time that you stop to take a breath is where you put the period. Like, today I went to the supermarket. There's a period. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the supermarket again, and I'm going to punch that stupid cashier in the face because they didn't give my 50 cents back. Mind you, that was a really long sentence, but you didn't breathe until the very end. So it's whenever you like you naturally stop to take a breath while you're saying it out loud, that's where a period goes. And that's because when you're speaking, that's also where you're putting a period. You're putting a very slight break there that people who just naturally listen to language obviously understand. It's like, okay, that was a full thought, now we're moving on to the next one. Stuff that you just instinctually do without realizing. Too hard, I would rather learn Spanish. Spanish is honestly an easier language than English by far. As someone who majority of his students were Spanish and had to learn quite a bit of Spanish in order to be able to teach them, Spanish is a way easier language to learn. English is like it's like the 5th hardest language to learn. It's because we have a phonetic alphabet, which means all the letters correspond to a sound. A, B, D. All of those. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they all correspond to sounds, and then they'll put those sounds together to make the word. Let's see, unlike kanji in Japanese, where each of the letters correspond to like an object or a thing, and you have to put all those together to create a thing. Like I forgot it. an example of like, there's a kanji for like cart, but they also use it for car as well. And then you have to use like a mixture of like kanji for like cart and the kanji for like big is a mixture of those two like kanji letters make up the word for bus, something like that. So, an alphabet like that, which is going to have a different symbol for a different thing, that's gonna be a more difficult written language to learn, obviously, because you now have thousands to learn. But English, even though it is a phonetic alphabet, we don't really have a phonetic language when we speak it, because a lot of the words because we have so many words that that are not said the way that they are spelled. My little sister, she has 2 little boys and she's homeschooling her kids, and I finally have someone to commiserate with on this, because we usually get together and we at my parents' house and we have dinner on Sundays, and she was like, I keep trying to explain him words like of and like enough. Island is a good one. Island. Enough, and we have to be like, well, that's just, you sounded it out right. It's really said this way, or it's like, let's see, before, there's so many words, depending on the curriculum and who's teaching, what they call these kind of words varies. They didn't really acknowledge these words when I was in school. They just kind of taught us the basics and then just made us memorize these words. I don't remember them actually explicitly calling out like, yeah, there are just words that just don't make sense with how they're spelled. Like, I never remember them like actually calling that out. Mind you, I'm in my 30s, so this was a long time ago, so I don't remember fully. But I think that's something that they've kind of more recently started doing in curriculum. I've heard them called weird words, screech words. I've worked in a bunch of different school districts in different states, but I usually just call them weird words. So there was a bunch of times where I had to tell a student to be like, hey, you just sounded out the word enough perfectly, enaug. But unfortunately, this is a weird word. We say the word enough. They had to look at me and be like, why? I'd be like, blame the French. Which is true. I talked about this last time, but a lot of it is because French people conquered England and brought a bunch of French words in, and all the people were like, I want to speak French too, but they didn't know French, so they just threw in a bunch of words, and now we've ended up with a bunch of words that are from an entirely different alphabet and way of speaking in our language. So that's a lot of the reason why it doesn't make sense. But anyways, why am I erasing this? I'm just gonna erase it just a tiny bit. I talked about it last stream, so I'm not gonna get into it again. How did we get here? How did we get here? I don't remember. Speaking of get here, I forgot to get my water in here. One second, I'm gonna grab that. No, unironically, Spanish is a much easier language to learn because it is a phonetic alphabet. The same letters make the same sound pretty much every time. There might be slight differences, but they're really rare and far between. Let's see. And also, conjugation of verbs is much more consistent. In English, it's such a weird language. There's even still debate to this day about how many conjugations of verbs there are in the English language. It goes back and forth depending on who you ask, whether there's 14 or 15 different conjugations. I couldn't name them all. Maybe I could have at one point, but it's been a bit since then. I don't know why I drew his top first. I think it's because I just really like this. Actually, you know what? I'm not satisfied with satisfied with this cut. I want it to be much more pronounced. There we go. Okay. All right. Now's gonna be the hard part. Everything else. Actually, I'll get his tip down here done. I'm really putting off the eyes and the face. Okay. And last time I made him really rounded. I'll try making him a little pointier this time. That's too pointy. Oh! He's not even. Okay, hold on. Let's do a guiding line here. Ooh, hello. Hello, sir. That's why you rotate your canvases, kids. In food. Did the couch just talk? Yeah! Hello. Yo. What do you call an Arby's in the middle of the ocean? Arby's! Yeah! That couch did just talk. I'm making little pngtuber talking furniture things. Hello, Vin. I don't know how to say your name. Vin? Yeah, his name is Jeremy. Hi guys, how you doing? Let's see. I'm in the process of making little like talking furniture characters to kind of add a little. Is the couch mocking you? No, he's the nice one. The Great Specific Garbage Patch. Ah. Is it one of the Atlantic? Anyways. No, but I'm making little pngtuber guys. You know that thing in like Blue's Clues or whatnot where there's just like one normal guy and then he has just a bunch of random talking furniture for no reason. I want to, let's see, I have this idea of turning my stream into something like that, except for I'm just not happy with this talking furniture. But that requires me to actually make all of them. So, and since I'm broke and not talented enough at 3D modeling or making VTuber models or anything like that, I decided to just make a little pngtubers that are just a couple pictures stitched together that make it look like they're talking. Because why not? You gotta start somewhere. What is it? Make it first, make it good later. Hell yeah. 2026. Just freaking make it first. Okay, there we go. Wait, okay, now, hold on. DW. Is there an Atlantic garbage patch? I know there's a Pacific one. Is there an Atlantic one? I have to know now. Is there an Atlantic garbage patch? Yes, there is a North Atlantic garbage patch. Yes! Atlantic stays winning. A large area of marine debris, primarily plastic, yes, collected by ocean currents with the North Atlantic gyre, similar to the more famous Pacific counterpart, was often less publicized and more of a plastic soup than a solid island. Oh. Wait, the Pacific garbage patch is a solid island? Okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was also just a plastic soup. Ooh, can we do something about that? Or is it just too big? Ow. guess if everyone's got microplastics, there's gotta at least be some macroplastics somewhere. Or the original microplastic. The mother plastic. Colonize it. Ooh, now we're talking. Let's see. Colonize it. Just need to figure out how to turn plastic back into oil and... Hey! No. Unironically though, I do think us figuring out how to turn plastic back into oil, like, cost effectively, would help deal with a lot of pollution. Although I think a lot of things like that, they probably don't want to use that technology because it would put a lot of people who have a lot of money out of jobs. That would be insane, yeah. I mean, we already get plastic from oil, so there should be a way to turn it back, or at least into something close. Saudi Arabians would probably go bankrupt. Maybe in a million. The crazy stuff that I hear some of them do, like, what is it? I heard about a guy who built, like, some Saudi prince who built, like, a giant canal full of water that's, like, in a really arid place, but he just made the canal, instead of it just being, like, going straight to, like, his property for, like, his boats to get to, like, a water source or something, it just spells out his name so that you can see his name from space. That's the only reason for it. I'm like, damn. How rich you gotta be and bored do you have to be like, I wonder if I can spell my name so that people can see it from space. Alright, here we go. I want the sharpening to kind of look a little bit jagged. Maybe that's a little bit too much. No. Let's see. This is gonna be fun shading now that I'm thinking about this. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun shading. Alright, and then I don't want the tip to, do I want the tip to be perfect, or do I want it to be a little loosey-goosey? Well, actually, hold on. We'll look back at it with it. How do I play around with this? I'm not settling on a final design. We're just kind of getting more and more details as we go along. Aliens would be confused. That's assuming aliens didn't do the same kind of shit that we do. People always assume that aliens are going to be more advanced or more evolved than us. I kind of expect that when aliens get here, they're going to be like, yeah, this is a sentient species, alright. They're doing the same stuff that we do. Because it's a lot of those things that's like, let's see, wanting to be remembered, wanting to like do something bigger than yourself, wanting to like be at the top or whatnot, that, let's see, while not always great in humans and can lead to a lot of like greed and people taking advantage or whatnot, kind of the reason, but at the same time, it's that very like innate drive that's in us is the reason why we're the top dogs on the planet, we're the sentient species, and we just kind of rule unquestioned on this planet, is because we have that drive in us. And it's one of those things that, I mean, if we didn't have that drive, we wouldn't dream of going to the stars, we wouldn't dream of flying planes. That let's see. That drive to do stuff like build that canal is also the same thing that drives people to invent planes. So it's and to invent rocket ships or to like want to like cure a disease. It's that same drive. It just came out and comes out in different ways. So it's one of those tunes that's like, well, not one of those things. It's one of those things that's like, well, you can use it for good or evil. So choose wisely, because you'll be remembered either way. They are more advanced if they manage to get to Earth. That's very true. I think what I want to say is we always assume they're going to be more advanced culturally. That's probably a better way of saying it. I think they might be a little bit more unified culturally, but I don't think they'll be more advanced beyond like... I don't think they'll be advanced beyond like basic mortal instinct and stuff like that. On Neanderthals, basically. Actually, I think the Neanderthals, I think they had that drive. They were just inefficient. What is it? Oh god, what's the word for it? It's not Homo sapiens. It's what's the actual like scientific term for like Neanderthals? It was like, oh, I forgot the word for it. It's not Homo erectus, which is a really that was like one of we do have a distant ancestor that's known as Homo erectus, which is basically like the first ape that stood up and walked into lanes. That's a real thing. Oh god. But I saw something on this a while ago. Neanderthals were bigger and they had bigger brains. And they were potentially like a little bit smarter because they had bigger brains, but they were a little bit too big, so they were inefficient. So they needed way more calories, so it was a lot harder for them to survive. So like the actual like Homo sapiens who were smaller, nimbler, and us, and had their brains were just slightly smaller, but they weren't necessarily, and they were potentially less intelligent, but they were also much more efficient. So they're the ones that ended up dominating. And I think Neanderthals either A, were killed off, or B, just mated with, they were shorter and stronger. Or were they shorter and stronger? I remember them just being inefficient. That was a thing. Like, Homo sapiens were just a little bit more efficient, and they just didn't need as much calories. And in a hunter-gatherer situation, that's a real good trait to have. If you don't need as much food to get by, and to live, that's a huge advantage. That's why if you're ever in a survival situation, you might think like, oh yeah, I want to go with the huge guy over here who looks like he can take down 50 zombies. Well, that huge guy over there is also going to eat twice what you do. So find someone tiny and give them a gun, and they'll be more efficient and better to be with. And you'll fight a lot less about food. I was thinking about this. I don't remember why I got that. Anyways, why are we talking about this? I don't remember. Also, they tend to be in smaller groups than humans. Yeah, that too. The more animals, let's see. It's that, what is it? It's eusocial, that's what it's called. Eusocial. The bigger groups, the bigger the brain and the bigger groups they form, usually the smarter the species. Which is why I think octopuses being such loners is very detrimental to them. I think if octopuses like actually started forming societies and colonies and like groups and working together, I feel like they would get real smart real fast because they're already real smart. Anyways, my two like animal conspiracies are one that we should have never allow octopuses to become eusocial because they might take over the ocean, and two, if humans wanted to, we could fully domesticate cheetahs. I fully believe that humans could domesticate cheetahs, and I really want us to. I want to have a hunting cat. Why don't we have this? Cheetahs are cute. Cheetahs are cute, and let's see. And as far as the big cats go, they're the ones that, let's see. When it comes to like lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, not bears. That was a joke. Like even people who have like, let's say they like find an orphan cub, like tiger cub, and they raise it from, like birth or whatnot, and they raise it from like it was a cub. Like that tiger knows it its whole life. Even they know that it's dangerous when it's fully grown to turn your back on it, because then it's going to immediately enter like hunting mode and like attack you, because it's a tiger. It's going to attack you. If they do the same thing with cheetahs, the cheetahs are just like, oh hey, it's Bob, and they'll just come over and like nuzzle up against you. Like they're way chiller with us than any other of the big cats. In fact, there's a bunch of stories of especially like cheetahs on like animal reserves and whatnot, where they have like game wardens and whatnot that just watch over like endangered species in the area and like keep people safe. There are stories of like new cheetah moms. Cheetahs aren't powerful, they're just fast. Exactly, and they know that. They know they're just fast and they're not powerful. So they know to recognize when things are threats and when things are not. And generally they know humans aren't threats. So there's a bunch of, and especially they're good at recognizing if someone is there to help. Like the stories of like people who like take care of like wildlife reserves out in Africa or whatnot, where they really it's just land that's cordoned off to be wildlife. They'll do a little bit here and there to make sure to help preserve things. Like there was like this one game warden who would leave out like there was like a new cheetah mom in the area, and he would leave out some food every once in a while for her because she noticed that she was struggling hunting, like if he came across a carcass or something. And one day he was coming by one day, and I think he was like dropping something off, and the cheetah mom was just there waiting for him, and she just kind of like hopped up on the jeep, left her cubs with him, and then ran off and went to hunt. Because she knew this guy's not a threat. He is not going to attack my babies. He does not want to eat them. In fact, he brings me food. I know I can trust this person, even though he's like an actual game warden, he's not like actually going out. He didn't raise this cheetah. He's not like interacting with it. He's just kind of doing his job to make sure like the ecosystem is preserved in the area. And the cheetah recognized this already and was just like, I know I can trust this guy. So I fully believe that we could domesticate cheetahs and we could turn them into hunting cats. Like we have hunting dogs. We'd probably have to breed them with if at all possible with like some other like more domestic cats, like a Maine Coon or something like that. And like we have to make like some sort of hybrid breed that wasn't a mule and could actually like or sterile and could actually like continue the population. But I fully believe that we could do it. We've already, what is it? I saw a while ago that raccoons have showed early signs of domestication. Mind you, domestication takes like 1,000 years. It's not a joke. Because it's not like early humans just went out, fed some wolves, some bison meat, and lo and behold, like 20 years later we had chihuahuas. No, it took thousands of years of, it took thousands of years of raising those animals, selectively breeding traits that were good in them, like, hey, this wolf is crazy and doesn't want to be penned up, and we can't use it for hunts. However, this one likes us a lot, and sees us as her pack, and really likes hanging around with us, and treats us like she would her pack. But so does this male over here. We're gonna make sure that these two breed so that their children also have that same trait of like, oh yeah, humans are just part of the pack. That's just how it is. And thousands of years of doing that get you chihuahuas, not 10, 20, or even 100. But I think the thing where it's weird with cats, A, they're just small and there's not as many big cats. B, cats domesticated themselves. We didn't domesticate them. Cats are like, hey, I can just hang out with these guys in their barn and eat their rats and they'll let me stay there. And we were like, you know what? That's what we need you to do, so we're just gonna let you do that. So that's how we ended up with cats. Whereas dogs were more of an active process because we saw things that, because we needed them for hunting, or we needed them to like be partners in crime, where cats just needed to do their own thing. They just need to do their own thing for us. I think we're closer to domesticating raccoons and cheetahs. We definitely are. I saw that I saw that article a little while ago that raccoons are starting to show like a shortening of a snout, which is like the first sign of domestication. Like the snout shortens because they just don't need to have quite as powerful a nose. The problem with raccoons is that we are only domesticating them because they're cute and we find them adorable. Whereas with cats and dogs, and pretty much every other animal, it served a purpose in the beginning. Even some of the weirder dog breeds, except for maybe a pug. I don't think a pug really has a purpose. Well, actually, I think maybe it did before it became like inbred deformed oddities that they are these days. But a lot of dog breeds, like, they served a purpose. Like German shepherds, obviously they were sheepdogs. They herded sheep. It's in the name. Like guard dogs. A lot of terriers were used for hunting rodents and digging things out or whatnot. Used as hunting dogs. So that's why they got a ton of energy, and they love to dig. Let's see. So they were all bred for like certain purposes. Just the modern society, we've taken a lot of those purposes away. While raccoons, we are solely domesticating them because we think they're cute. Which means that whatever they turn out to be is going to be probably, whatever they end up being in 1,000 years is probably going to be more closer to a panda than a German shepherd. And I think the raccoon is A-okay with that. At least pandas can survive on their own. Can they? Well, there are some that are in the wild still. But genuinely, listen, I love pandas, but I think if humans didn't love them so much, I think they might have died out on their own. But we just love them a lot. It's hard not to. They're adorable. They're basically giant teddy bears come to life. I genuinely wonder what purpose our love of like big round cute furry things comes from. Because most of the time when we were like hunters and gatherers, when we were hunters and gatherers, big round furry things were going to kill us. Maybe it's just like maybe it's just because we see like we equate that fur with like warmth and comfort. and then when the thing that it's attached to is like super sweet and gentle at the same time, we're like, well, this is great. It's just the best of both worlds. It's probably a mixture of a couple things where it's like our brain telling us this thing is not a threat, and this thing is warm and comfy if you wear it. Because even though we live in a digital age, we are still... It's not like we're really any different from... It's not like, yeah, even at a genetic level, we're almost not different at all from like a hunter and gatherer's roots. If all of a sudden all our technology was gonna go tomorrow, mind you, there would be mass pandemonium and a lot of people would die, but give it a generation or two and we'd be right back to being hunters and gatherers and no problem. Probably some farmers too, because people would remember that. But we could go back to that so easy if needed be. We haven't lost the ability to do that. Which is honestly probably a good thing. What is it? I once heard a lady, she was an evolutionary biologist, who described us as cavemen in a digital age, because that's really what we are. We're just... What if you gave a tablet to a caveman? What would he turn into? And it turns out it's whatever we got today. This mouth is not... Okay, actually, one thing I need to do... I don't know why I did this like this. Alright, I really want his smile to be a little bit unnerving. So, we're going to use a little symmetry tool here. And we're just going to... Oh, okay. Why are we like this? We're going to use a little symmetry tool here. And we're just going to make this bad boy straight. Or make this bad boy symmetrical. That's a good way of saying it. There we go. Perfect. The fun part with symmetry tools is that it always looks great on the outside, but as soon as it touches in the middle, I'm not so great at that part. I always have to end up fixing that afterwards. Oh, man. I might turn up my stabilization a bit. Oh, I'm already at like 30. I didn't even know that. I'm not liking any of my lines. I'm already really bad at drawing curves. Actually, I'm not really too good at drawing any lines, to be honest. But you know what? It is what it is. It's because, hold on. I'm attacking this from a weird, uncomfortable angle. I kind of like that. It's a little weird, like, but not what I want. I want slightly upsetting, or just slightly off is a better way of saying it. Not... I'm trying to just follow that same... What did I do forward here? Okay, I think that's what it is. I'm trying to make the whole thing, but I just need to make it a little bit. cannot draw. Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, hold on. Let me attack this from a different angle. I'm try going up at it. Okay, yeah. This is feeling and looking more natural. Okay. Alright, and then let's fix some of these little goofy bits. Turn these up a little bit. What time is it? Ooh, okay. For all my talking about random bullshit today, I got more done than I thought. There we go. I'm not fully... I'm not fully happy with it yet, but I'm close. There we go. There we go. That's a little unnerving. I like that. It needs to be a little... I need to fix it up just around these edges a bit. Okay, how does it look like from a distance? There we go. I like that. Just a little nerving. So there we go. All right. That just leaves the eyes. I feel like this is something that I'm... Oh. I do not want that symmetry. I do not want that symmetry still, because these do not need to be. These are very specifically asymmetrical. In fact, if they're a little oblong, that's probably good. Well, a little. Okay. I don't like any of these. Tell you what, the more I do art, the more I realize that I feel like I'm just getting better at drawing the same line 1,000 times and not liking any of them. I'm really bad at curves. I think I just need to find a more like consistent and comfortable way of doing it. Because there's always sections where I'm like, wow, that's really flat. I don't like that at all. Okay, and then it's just gonna be initial line. I'm probably gonna do, well, if I like this enough, I might keep it. I'm probably gonna do another pass after this. Might try out, actually, might actually play around with some stuff a bit. Because I really want to nail these. Well, no, probably would. I just want something that I'm happy with. There we go. There we go. Not too shabby. I gotta do the gotta do the stuff in the background, and those eyes are messing with me. What is this circle? How can he see? Look at that. Cut off at the top. a little bit better. Oh. Right here. That's the best way I can describe it. Nope. Do this. Okay, and there we go. There we go. This also might be one of those things that I'm not going to fully understand how it looks until I start putting color to it. I have a feeling that's probably going to be the case. Alright. And then I want to... These I can do just real quick. I'm going to use a pencil, so... He's going to have... I wish I'd done these first, but... Here's what it is. There we go. I'm just gonna erase these from inside the eyes, and we are moving from a very rough sketch to something that is less rough. Honestly, I think this is the most drawing I've done one of these streams this entire time. I'm also yapping a bunch during this. Yeesh. One of these days, I'm going to get better at doing rough drafts quickly instead of taking 2 hours to do. But that comes with time, and practice, and knowing what you're doing, and having a grasp of the basics. And I just kind of do it. Actually, I don't even know if I ever explained this. You know what my channel is called 10K Hours? Or it's not 10 hours, it's 10K hours. I called it that because I originally started this channel so I would be consistent with practicing doing art, and I named it 10K hours because it says it takes 10,000 hours to master something. That's the story behind my name. And when I first started out, I used to have like a little timer that I put up on the side to be like, hey, these are how many hours that I've put into mastering drawing so far. I'd actually like time myself, and like it would be like a cumulative thing, but it was really hard to find a timer that A, saved itself, and B, I didn't have to like manually reset every time, and C, counted up infinitely. Like, I spent so much time trying to find a timer that eventually I just gave up. I was like, I'm gonna have to make my own at this point. And frankly, I don't care enough. I don't know what this channel was originally about. But now I'm just more having fun with it, if I'm gonna be honest. Which I think is better. Alright, there we go. Oh wait, I gotta hit the altitude. Oh yeah, and the T. You would really only see his top T. On those later. Those are a bit rough. This is supposed to be a rough sketch. There we go. After like maybe a year and a half, we're on our way to something more. Here's the thing, he's tiny. I feel like I'm gonna need to really make sure I'm adding like some not overwhelming details up here and down below, or else his design's gonna be real simple, or maybe a little bit too lacking. Oh, I feel like he's gonna be really easy to either give too much details to or not enough. And there's gonna be a real fine line there that I'm gonna have to find. But that's gonna be for next time. because I gotta get going for today. Well, it's been fun. Saw a lot of new people here. Saw some people coming back. DW Callaway, thank you for coming. Vim and Cole Rains, thank you for coming too. I think this is the biggest stream I've ever had. Let's see. Yeah, see ya. Actually, there was one time I got rated by 11 people, like 2 years ago. That was the biggest stream I've ever had. This is probably the second biggest stream I've ever had. So, thank you for coming by. I'm gonna call it there because I gotta go get ready for work and bed and all that fun stuff. Yay! Is what it is. Alright, well, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun, but it has not been a fun reel because I don't know what that is. I'll be back on Thursday. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of gaming. I want to try out. Okay, I want to try out Dave the Diver, and I just bought that at the beginning of this stream. I don't know if there's any other like big games that are coming out this time of year because it's January. Nothing comes out in January. Everyone's like, we just got back from vacation. Don't bother us. I don't want to make anything right now. So yeah. But yeah, I'll probably check that out and maybe do a little bit more drawing this weekend. We'll see. I want to finish these guys up as soon as possible. So yeah. All right. But I'll be back on Thursday, 8 p.m. CST to 10 p.m. CST, whatever that is in your time zones. I don't know, but I'll see